Redefining Hollywood in Vegas. My name is Joyce Chow. You have seen me running around as well as some of the other people up here, but I also have a film festival called iHollywood Film Fest, which is all about storytellers of all ages, technology, and of course, there's a little bit of AI and blockchain, Web3, all of that. So this is something that's near and dear to my heart, and it is amazing to see what is happening in the space and how it changes. And I'm going to let each of the panelists introduce themselves about what they're doing, starting with Jeff, and then we'll follow with Rex, B. Dave, and then we'll come back to Rex talking about his video. Jeff?
Awesome.
All yours.
Joyce, I love you. Yes, in the house. I was going to let B go first because it's ladies first, and then can I go?
Whatever you want.
Okay, go for it.
We're
B.
redefining Hollywood, though.
I know.
Is that how you want to redefine?
Sister, you're my little sister, and I'll go first. My name is Jeff Crane, and I am with NFT the Movie Entertainment Company. We submitted, actually, I'm not going to do that. I am the founder, director of the deal. I also do some AI stuff, as you can see with AI.nyc, and I'm just so grateful to be here. Thank you.
Decades.
I'm Rex Wong, and I run a venture studio, a creator venture studio in LA called Creator Space LA. We actually hosted iHollywood, we actually hosted Tokenize, and we actually hosted Meta Mondays. So there's this interaction. So we have a creator studio in LA where we create ventures around creators, as well as do some deep tech. So I also have an AI company called Hollow AI, which creates AI twins. But my background comes from I created a search engine back in the day that became better known to most of you as AdSense, which are all the ads you see on Google, which we sold to Google in 2003. Hard to believe it's like 20 plus years. And by the way, Michael has been my publicist for 29 years. So I've known him longer than I've been married. So I call him my publicity husband. Sorry.
I want a PR husband.
And he's actually done he's actually helped me with 7 different startups and exits. And after the AdSense company, I created a company called Dave TV, which was, So we didn't name it after you, but
We're so connected.
But Dave stood for Distributed Audio Video Entertainment, and we were one of the first video platforms in Hollywood. And we powered about half of Hollywood in the first generation of video back in 2004 or 5. And so we powered like Disney, MGM, Paramount, Sony, Warner Music, built a lot of celebrity sites for like Snoop Dogg and Will Smith, Jessica Alba. And it was basically the first generation of online video. And it was more like Flash in the day, but we built like the sites for American Idol, America's Got Talent, a lot of reality shows. America's Funniest Video was really our launch platform, and have been doing media tech for the last 20 years.
Well, I feel honored to be on this panel with you all and connected, like you said. We all work together in one fashion or another. I'm supposed to be working right now. For Joyce, my name is B. Davies. I have a virtual production company called Hive Global Media. We're building the future of media, which is why I'm here today. We help out with film, fashion, events, do white label production, and we're also building our own IP to create the future of media, to show people what tools like AI can look like with Web3 and XR. So I'm excited to talk about those projects and, tell you how actually a lot of these people are integrated in them.
Nice. Raven Dave, I make stuff, use emerging technologies to tell stories, and was fortunate enough to find a business partner who is the executive producer of The Expendables, the Rambo series, Fast and Furious, and a whole bunch of other really cool big movies. And that is how I probably ended up on this panel. So, yeah.
He's too humble. Okay.
You're being overly humble.
Yeah, always though.
Okay, Rex, let's talk about your video.
Yeah, so this is a trailer for our, so one of the other companies that we're incubating is something called Spatial Studio. So we have a 7,000 square foot, I call it an innovation lab for creators in Santa Monica. And we have, if anybody knows what volumetric is, we have 3 volumetric stages there. It's about $5 million of equipment. Basically, it's a bunch of cameras in a rig, 120 cameras with depth maps, and it basically records you. So think bullet time, but in video, right? And so it's 120 4K cameras with depth sensors that basically captures you, and we have 3 of them. So one of the small one we capture face, and the mid one we capture body, and then we have a big one that captures performance. And our shareholders in this company are Live Nation, and the CEO of Atlantic Records, Craig Kalman. And so music was actually the first application. And then we're taking that because it's a perfect capture. So what we're doing is we're capturing creators. So we have a lot of creators that come in. We work with about a network of 500 creators. And we're capturing them and their digital form, right? And so it's the best digital replica of a person, right? And with Hollow, another company, so we call that body. The other side of it is soul, right? We have the most accurate AI twin replica of a person, right? And there's a blockchain angle to it, which is, the SAG strike was all about well, what if a studio captures me and then abuses my twin and goes and uses it? Or what if somebody illegally just copies me and deepfakes me, as you can see with Tom Cruise and all these deepfakes out there? And so we've created a blockchain registry that essentially records that. We KYC people, and then we record that onto a registry, right? And then anything that is generated from the twin is actually tracked, has full provenance, and any generation is watermarked and fingerprinted so that we can track what your twin is doing. And then you can create this new, what we call AI economy, to be able to allow your twin to make money while you sleep. And that goes into AI generation. But what this will show is now what we can do with all those AI twins, right? And what we're creating. So we're combining all these new types of tech like XR and mixed reality. We're using this new tech called Gaussian splat, which essentially one of the problems was trying to fill in all the dots in the middle. And so we're able to capture that, and we're down now so that we can capture like beard here and lace and that type of quality, right? And so if you can imagine what people are doing with all these text to video type of things, imagine what you can do. And that's with usually consumer cameras. What can you do if you have a perfect, and it's 120 times 4K, so it's a lot of data. If you have that fidelity of capture, and then the personality, if you have that fidelity of capture, what can you do with content moving forward, right? So this is actually just to show where we're going with that, and we'll play this. So this is a model that we had. His name's Jay, he's real. But of course, this scene isn't. Hopefully this runs. And so this is a picture of our studio in Santa Monica.
Your membership grants you access to Spatial Studios. That includes your digital likeness and 4D.
So you can see it captured as wireframe,
well,
headers, his measures.
Sell.ai, the leading agency for AI artists and innovators.
And so basically we can change his we can change the scene, we can put him in front of the Eiffel Tower. He's never wearing any of this. And he can speak French. He doesn't speak French, so that's where the AI comes in.
Also become an AI chatbot.
Can be able to chat
with your person.
And then we have pipelines. So like, for example, Unreal, where he could be game.
Add yourself.
We have in-painting where he could actually be replaced in a scene.
Unlock the next.
Could be a judge and a shard
with spatial
scene. We can make it Saturday, make him a pirate. Even that scene is AI generated, right? And it's very fast, but
amazing.
But Dave, you can stop it too. Yeah. And so that's what we're kind of doing with kind of this new production. So we've been creating these pipelines for live action animation, right? And this concept of an actor that can expand their presence with their AI twin to do more, but do it in an ethical fashion where you can track it, where they're getting paid. And in fact, SAG has an AI day rate now. And yeah, there is an AI day rate, yes. And we've been working with SAG and some of the agencies. Of course, if you're a bigger actor like Tom Cruise, then you're going to set your own rate. But if you're a working actor, you can now basically license out your twin, and it can be for different things and different types of new ways of making money with your AI NIL identity, right?
People just go around this though. Is there laws about this, or I just want to go, hey, screw SAG, screw you guys, I'm going to make The Rock, not me, but
The other Rock.
Let's make it about you, though. Forget him.
yeah, and I'm just going to make a movie with them. Is there anything to stop me from doing that?
No, so the whole idea is that you're licensing it. It's kind of like a single source of truth, right? Because it's your identity, and we've verified that. And there's a marketplace where you can license that identity along with the assets. So imagine you're producing an AI film and you want to hire, let's say it's we'll just use Tom Cruise as an example. He's not on the system, but let's say it's Tom Cruise. Well, his assets are already been captured, right? And so those are already the best assets. So if you're going into AI film production and you want to use AI Tom Cruise, you can immediately hire him. It can be accepted. It can be tracked on that smart contract.
But what if I don't want to pay Tom Cruise? I just do it on my own. So then you get sued.
Yes. And then we have a protection service, because remember, we fingerprinted it and watermarked it. So as long as you can use that as the single source of truth for your identity, then everything that doesn't have the watermark or the fingerprint is not you, or not the official you. And then we can send takedown notices and automatic DCMAs, right? And so that will be part of that protection part of it, which was a big part of why SAG was looking at, like, well, how do we protect, right? And like, let's say you're Scarlett Johansson and she hates AI, right? Well, she should still be registered, because that is kind of the fingerprint for her, so that we can take down all the illegal Scarlett Johanssons, right?
Can I speak to this real quick, Rock? Because you brought up something that's really important. We've heard that question over and over again. That question was asked in the NFT space. If you remember in the beginning, you had like Bart Simpson, you had all these different characters that were trademarked that people were ripping off. And then it's like, well, somebody will catch them. Nobody ever caught them, right? The big problem is also what happens if somebody does this nefariously with triple X rated movies, right? Then it's already out. How are you going to put the cat back in the box? I don't even know if that's a phrase. So what you brought up, in every single technology, we have the robber barons. They come in and they well, that's actually not the right term, but they come in and they steal all of the intellectual property, and then it's a little bit too late. So, Rock, that is probably the best question that you could have asked, because we're all going to get transacted somehow. And once it's out of the box, how are we going to put it back in?
Yeah.
No, but I think they might. I heard they might already have that. Triple X, the porn.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I can speak to that a little bit and tie in both of those, because we've been using Hollow for our new metaverse film, Stripiverse. It started because we created this idea of what the future of film looks like. It was hive mind. It was a narrative sci-fi film around a fashion metaverse. That was okay, but digital fashion is still really hard to monetize in the metaverse. So we went back what has always been at the pinnacle of innovation. It's been the sex industry. It got people to use the internet, but it's always been done unethically. We have a female-founded company. We're not going to do that. So we decided someone's going to do this. It might as well be us. It's going to be done tastefully. It's going to be done ethically with tools like AI. We are not replacing jobs. We're creating new, safer ones for these dancers. And they'll also be on-chain, right? So if anyone else tries to use their image for whatever, even if it's PG content, we'll know, because we're using Rex's technology along with some other things I cannot disclose. And I myself am an actor. I combine both, the tech career that was supporting my entertainment career during the pandemic and created this studio with Paris Holland, who's in the audience. And because I saw what was happening in the fashion industry with all these people getting exploited and the film industry too. So yeah, you should worry about all of it. You know, if you're a politician, we've seen so many political AI ads where, it's defamation. There's so much to worry about, but I think that Hollow has a really good grasp on how to solve that idea, and I'm excited to incorporate that into our both our movie and our metaverse.
Rex, I was just curious. You were talking about an AI rate. So that's the AI rate for somebody's image?
Correct. And I believe this week, the first AI SAG movie came out, or SAG tracked movie came out with AI actors. And it was, can't remember the studio. I think it's a Promise Studio. But it's basically the first AI SAG tracked AI movie with the SAG rate tracking real actors that were.
What's the difference between the SAG rate and the
60% of a food actor's day rate?
Okay, so 40% less.
Correct. But you could have 5 alter egos, right? So, and they could all be going and doing it.
And I was asking because I just got an invoice, or estimated invoice for the cost of 1 minute of animation, and it was $546,000. And this is the top animators. This is an overseas project for China, and it's actually being manufactured here in Los Angeles, so in the U.S. So we're exporting entertainment assets, and I think part of the GDP, I think entertainment and movies is about 3.2%. So it's really interesting as we start to get into this trade conversation and we look at entertainment, and I think Trump even talked about taxing or tariffing movies. And so I think there's a real ripe opportunity for disruption, because I'm looking at these costs and I get the cost because I see the sheer volume of hours that are put into Studio 3D, 4D Max, etc. But the difference is that the quality, right? And I think it becomes down to quality and rendering. So on a cinematic level, you need millions and millions of polygons, which is the mesh that creates these digital characters that then get created. So in our case, we work with animals, specifically panda bears right now. And so to make a very, very high resolution panda bear that looks so real on that screen over there, it takes millions and millions of polygons. But if I want to take that and put it into a virtual XR environment, that's a game space that's going to be played on a console, let alone through streaming, I have to take those pixels of millions and millions and get them down to a really, 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 really small space, and then be able to send that to you in a way. So there's kind of this trade-off between high quality and access to content. So where is this point of disruption going to come where our cost to create a minute of animation at high resolution that could play in the sphere or a video game, because you kind of have VFX industry and then you have gaming industry and now you have emerging new technology, AI, and these worlds aren't playing together, and there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in difference between their costs.
Isn't that just like TikTok videos and blockbuster movies?
Well, yeah, I think there's actually a segmentation now, because if you look at the younger generation, right, Gen Z and Gen Alpha that's coming up, I mean, this is their screen. They're not even going to movie theaters anymore, right? And so there is and the fragmentation of content is also expanding, right? And so those high polygons, yes, the Sphere, and that's expensive. It costs $500,000 just to produce something for the Sphere, right? And that's going to be super high resolution, right? But that's like U2, right? And that's like, they're making hundreds of millions of dollars on their performance, right? But there's this whole new segment. Like, for example, we have these new AI animation flows, and we actually have a talent management side. So we actually manage a lot of Disney and Nickelodeon kids and celebrity kids. Like I manage, for example, Chris Brown's daughter, Royalty. And so we're actually producing an AI animated series, and the produced minute is somewhere like a few $1,000s versus typically $50,000 a produced minute. And it's Pixar quality, right? But it's meant for the small screen, and it's meant for social and that distribution. We're not waiting for a Netflix deal or anything, right?
Precisely.
And it can be distributed, and because of its cost, we can make money even if it was on YouTube.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Way to silence me. I'm just kidding. Are you distributing on like vertical short apps? Like
Yeah,
really
and so
short-
there's these new trends. Like for example, there's a trend on TikTok right now, and ironically, it's not a new trend because if you remember, Michael Eisner in 2006 came out with Prom Queen, and it was basically a 90-minute movie in 91-minute episodes with cliffhangers.
So that's it. So hold on. So check this out. I'm just going to throw this out here. Like, F it, right? So we are in a moment of disruption, and what is actually disrupting it is, you just said it right here, right? It's short, digestible content. And so think about, like, take this concept of the shorties, right? And so we have a whole new generation that started actually with Twitter, right? A 260 character limit, maybe it was 180, and then they expanded to 260. And we went from horizontal to vertical. And so now you're in short vertical format. And so how do you tell a story in 15 seconds or less? How do you tell a story in 10 seconds or less, right? I love you. 3 words tells a very strong story with a very hard emotional impact. And so we're also seeing a change in language. You're starting to remove certain vowels. You're seeing short form, the LOLs and all these different acronyms. And so do you see this change happening, and do you think that this is going to have an impact? Because it's actually the opposite of long form.
It's what, so Katzenberg came out with QB, but he got the format right, which was vertical, but he got the whole time format wrong because he was just doing, basically, I think it was Kiefer Sutherland, and he just did 24 in a vertical format. That doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
Right now, what's working, there's a whole cottage industry of these, and there's a platform called Real Short. And what they're doing is I call it like romantic Harlequin, but in a
It
short.
was just in one.
Oh, okay, see? So, and what they do, they
This
cast
is-
ensemble cast. They do love triangles, right? And the budget is usually 50 to 100 grand shot in a week, right? And they and it's usually 60 to 90 episodes of 1 minute. You have a hook, you have a cliffhanger on that minute, and every episode has a cliffhanger. You put the first 30 episodes up on TikTok, and then episodes 31 to 60 or 90 are on their platform, and you pay $4.99, and it hooks people. And the average return right now is somewhere between $500,000 and $2 million for a $100,000 budget, produced in 7 days.
Let me jump in real quick. Okay, 2 things. Everybody remember Blair Witch Project? Why was it special? Because the camera was shaky. We're in the camera shaky phase. Okay, we are not broadband right now. Right now in Japan, they're leading the way. 3-minute movies. That's it. Everything's digestible. It's really, really small. So you can't pack really massive tech inside of it. So what you do is you dumb it down and you create the story. And it's about love, and it's about substance, and it's about what's the real value behind it. And one last thing, because we talked about NFTs, it's about the artist behind it and the provenance. Once you start creating movies, you're going to want to watch the director and the producer of those movies, because you trust those movies are going to be good. Thank you.
And with that, it's a wrap.
Tokenize, let's innovate, bringing answers to the digital state. From finance to games, we're redefining, connecting the dots, the future is shining.